This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
Welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. We are deep in the series about failing in business. And I'm so excited to have my friend Jim Hughes here with us, local business owner. And he knows we're going to talk about failure. So in business, we know there are ups and downs. And sometimes you can be scared to make a move because you're scared of failing and it holds you back. And so in this series, we are exposing failures. We're talking about the mistakes that we've made and the ways that we've failed forward, because that is really what it's all about, is how do you take that failure to move forward? So Jim is seasoned as an entrepreneur, and I'm excited to dig into some failures. I know you're ready to share some with us. Before we dig in, can you tell us a little bit about you and your business?
Well, I would like to say I've started, built, and sold 5 businesses. 20 years ago, when I sold that 5th business, I started a new business. I had a non-compete. And so I'm on my 6th business. It's 20 years old. And I started that business because of a failure.
Ooh, the story gets good.
I have to build the story here.
I like it.
And so what Business Risk Solutions is today is a risk management company in IT security. So what I do are 2 things. One is I do identity theft awareness workshops for senior living facilities because they're such huge targets for identity theft. Huge, unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
I get a chance to tell you a story or 2. And I do cybersecurity prevention workshops for small businesses, 10 to 100 employees, because the thieves know that the small business owner hasn't planned for a ransomware or malware attack. So that started me, caused by me having a ransomware attack in my system.
Wow. Okay.
So that's my first failure to discuss today. And
you are so prepared.
I'm an agenda kind of guy.
I think you get like an A+ already, and we're only like 2 minutes in.
That jerked me, got a hold of me. A ransomware attack shuts your system down completely. You can't operate your business because everything is through your computers, right? Mm-hmm. You can't bill because everything's through your computer. You are locked down.
Wow.
And so after, wiping the blood off, so to speak, and getting back up on my feet, I said, that's not going to happen again. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do everything I can to learn everything I need to know to bring that message to the small business owner.
Awesome.
So that's my opening salvo.
I love that. I love that I think you're right. There's this market of business owners that don't really know that they need it. Like, why would I need that? So tell us why.
Oh, gosh, I get that all the time, Lyndsay. Why? I don't have any money. I'm not a big business. I've only got 10 employees. My computers are pretty well locked up by this guy that is a virtual CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. And so I'm not at risk. And so what I try to teach those people that don't know what they don't know is how to stand on their front door of their house. And I'm being figurative here.
Yeah.
Stick their finger out the window and test what is coming in the weather, i.e., am I vulnerable to a ransomware or malware attack? Because the statistics are stacked against the business owner. If they have one failure, it can bring them completely down, shut their business down. They can pay the ransom and still go out of business.
Wow.
So that is my mission, is to get to as many business owners as I can and as many seniors as I can and bring the message so that I beat the thieves to those victims, if you will.
Why are seniors such a target? I'm curious.
Because seniors are not raised with these.
Got it.
Or any of the digital equipment. And, seniors are used to going to sleep at night with their door unlocked.
Yeah.
They trust. Seniors are not privy of social engineering. Mm-hmm. They're not privy of phishing expeditions. Phishing, not F-I-S-H, but P-H-I-S, into their phones and into their iPads or tablets and laptops. And as a result of that, they're hornswoggled all the time. Every single place I speak, and I speak all over Middle Tennessee, every single one that I speak at, some senior comes up to me, or several seniors come up to me and say, Jim, I was just defrauded out of, last one in Franklin, came up to me and he said, he was about 85 years old, somewhere in there, and he came up to me and said, Jim, I was just defrauded out of $9,500.
Wow.
I thought it was my grandson.
Oh my gosh. It's so true. I've heard of all of these things happening.
But the kicker in that conversation, he said, Jim, that's the second time that's happened.
Was this on a phone or this was through the computer?
Phone.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And a lot of new frauds coming through the phone. So that's something we need to really be careful with, because all kinds of links, all kinds of offers. The two most recent ones are your toll pass is out of date.
Oh yeah, I block that all the time. Block.
All the time.
I mean, you got to kind of, like, you're right though. Like I look for it. My daughter bought something or is selling something. So I have an 18-year-old daughter. She has her own business. She's got a spray tan business. I'm going to plug her since I can. Tans by IG. She does them out of College Grove. She's phenomenal. Best spray tan artist. She's absolutely incredible. Had a great teacher, Nikki, at Two Golden Girls, who trained her. But she started selling stuff. She did work for people and then was like, that's kind of for the birds. I think I'm going to just work for myself, Mom, like you do. And she started selling things on different, I guess there's Poshmark and Depop and some of these websites. So she started selling something, and right after she started the account, and I had sold something or bought stuff on this before. I'm not really into taking the time to resell stuff, but she got an email from someone said, I want to buy it. Is something that was needing her to fill out this so she could send her money. And she came to me and said, Mom, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And I started to look at it. They don't need your account information to send you money. That is not how this works. This is a scam.
You were correct.
And there were 3 other people that sent her the same message because she was new. It was like, this is how they fish people. They start a membership and they start phishing. So it's not just on your computer. It can be, the malicious software and things like that, but it's all over. And with seniors, I would also imagine there's probably identity theft because they're not using their credit. They don't have a reason to use their credit, so they don't even know that it's gotten hit.
Yeah, and especially if they give the information out over the phone. This last week, I had a lady referred to me, 70 years old. She had 2 guys knock on her front door and say, we want to switch your electric service. And she gave her full Social Security number. That happens all the time. Last one, I was in Carthage, Tennessee, giving a talk there. After I got finished, a guy comes up to me, he and his wife are in the audience, and says, he covered his, so no one else could hear. He was embarrassed, and he says, we just got scammed out of $109,000. Jim, I thought it was our church.
Oh my gosh.
So what I'm trying to bring the message to not only the business owners, but to the seniors is these people don't have souls.
Yeah.
They have no soul. So you're a number. And so trying to teach them what to do and not to do when they're on their devices is what I try to do. So,
okay, you've got some freebies for the listeners, and you also, before we dig into your failures, I want you to tell everybody where to find you and what you've got for free, because this is really important. I had a conversation with a client and friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and she talked to me about how she got this phone call where somebody was saying, meet us here with this money. We have your license number. You failed to show up in court, just one of those scams. And she's telling me she's on the phone in tears with them. And my heart is breaking listening to this. It happened a year ago to her, but totally got scammed. Then they had another scam they were talking about, same person, that somebody had gotten into their email and had told them they were switching, that their now billing is through this. So they switched their billing and, went ahead and did what they thought they were supposed to do. No, it wasn't that person. They had hacked their email.
Yeah. And it's not just the seniors that this is happening.
Correct.
I had a 40-year-old woman come to me after she got a call from the circuit court saying, you didn't show up for jury duty.
Yes.
Twice. We sent registered mail to you. they had her old address. So she recognized it and felt it was authentic. It's $2,500 fine for each of those. And if you don't pay the fine now over the phone, which I can take care of this and get this off your record, then I'm going to have the sheriff at your door within the hour.
Send him. Right? Jim's
Absolutely.
laughing. My producer Jim's laughing. Yeah. But you don't know. They scare you out of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. The social engineering has become such an art that it is scary. And it's easy on the seniors, but it's not just the seniors that are getting hacked.
Not at all.
They're defrauded. It's amazing. But anyway, go ahead.
Speaking of social engineering, off subject, but because I know you're an avid reader, because we've already talked about that. Have you read The Revenge of the Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell?
No, I've not.
You will find it fascinating. Talks a lot about social engineering.
The Revenge of the Tipping Point.
Yes, he wrote The Tipping Point 25 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I read that.
And this is, it's fantastic. Very interesting. And you and I were saying before we started recording here that we're both read a book a week. That's the goal. Sometimes it takes 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever, but the goal is a book a week, 50 books a year-ish. And so I'll recommend that for you. But tell us where to find you and your freebies.
Well, a couple of things. One is I'm on LinkedIn under Jim Hughes, Business Risk Solutions. Number two is I've got a website, which is businessrisksolutions.net. And the freebies that I'm trying to get out to your listeners to help them. This is all with the intent of my mission is to help them. And that is, one is identity theft awareness tips, it's ultimate tips. What is actually occurring today? What are the top, it's not all inclusive, but it's the top frauds that are occurring and how to avoid them and how to protect themselves. And just a little short blip. And that link will be in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
And the second one is my cybersecurity self-assessment.
Okay.
Ultimate checklist. And the purpose of that is there's 8 questions the business owner can go through, the small business owner can go through at no cost.
Yeah.
And assess. And again, going back to my analogy, stick your finger out the front door and say, what kind of weather is coming?
Yeah.
In using the analogy of, am I vulnerable to a ransomware or a malware attack? And that will tell them whether they need to go further in their assessment. Those are 2 free items that I provide when I'm on podcasts and like yours.
Yeah.
And hopes people will read them and heed the guidance that I'm trying to give to them. It just gives me a chance to get to the masses that way. So I was on a podcast 2 weeks ago with a lady in Minnesota, and she's got 65,000 subscribers, 10 to 15,000 downloads per session, and got a lot of exposure that way too. So I'm trying to get that out too.
Yeah, trying to help people.
Yeah.
Do you share anywhere like this is the latest trend? Watch for this. Do you do that on social media or anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that now on a regular basis. I do it on LinkedIn and on Instagram.
Okay.
But I'm trying to also send a little highlight alert, if you will, so it's current on a weekly basis out to my database.
So we can subscribe to that through your website too. Okay. Yeah, I send weekly marketing or business emails. I've got a couple things I send out that are the same intent of like, let's stay on top of the latest that's happening. But that's very helpful. Like the toll pass thing, I knew that I was like, there's no way they're texting me about a toll, right? This is crazy. But not everybody can pick up on it. It's very believable. You really can get kind of bamboozled in it.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
And you guide me through here. Half of the phone calls coming into the call centers, I got 2 call centers for identity theft fraud cases, one in California and one in Chicago. Half the calls coming in today are people, seniors in particular, clicking on a link from a text message, not email, text message. And that link downloads malware onto the phone.
Wow.
And then when they do banking online, and I always ask when I'm speaking, how many of you bank online with this? and I get half the room
Yeah.
that answers, raises their hand. And so the code is meant to follow you in the next time you go into your bank and sweep all of your accounts. And that's half the phone calls coming into the call centers.
Wow.
Terrible. That's one of the newest ones.
So your advice is go take this quiz, see where you're at, see if you're protected, but also stay tuned with what's out there, the latest, because you inform them.
You have to.
Yeah.
Security is not convenient, and convenience is not secure.
Yep. I love
so
that.
you have to stop and take the time. And
Yeah.
we have a tendency, that's what got me in a ransomware attack, too busy running through and deleting and clicking on things that I thought were
legit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's disturbing.
Yes, it is.
And when you don't think that way, you can't really get into the mind of somebody that's going to do that stuff. So you got to have someone that knows how they think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. And
Wow.
knows the current trends that are coming. Because as you and I speak, Lyndsay, right now, the thieves are creating new code to get into our systems, new ways to get into your account, my account, new ways to steal our identity.
Wow. It's unbelievable. So I want to shift gears and talk about how you came up with this business. I know how you came up with the business. You already shared that. But talk about your failure that led to this business. Is it the failure to protect yourself? Is that what you were talking about?
Well, yeah, that was one of them. One failure, and that was that this is an easy failure for the business.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndsay, 85% of ransomware and malware attacks on a business are caused by employee error.
Oh, really?
85%.
Explain what would you define as employee error?
I'm Jim employee, and I'm on your company system, and I get an email that says, Jim, this is Lyndsay. Send $5,000 to venture capital, and they've got new account numbers and routing numbers. So here are those numbers. Oh, wait, that came from Lyndsay. Well, I better do it. She's my boss.
Yeah.
Right? And that is where they get you. And that 5,000 is peanuts. It's pennies compared to what's actually happening.
Yeah.
So I think that's the message I want to keep trying to get across in this recording is that you need to stop and slow down.
Yes.
I didn't, and I became a victim of ransomware. I lost money, I lost time, and I got stressed out like you wouldn't believe. And fortunately, I had a guy a technician that I use, and he got my system back up, but I had to start all over again.
Yeah.
The bottom line, and so that's that first failure. I've had another failure that I'd like to share that's not tech related.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
And that is, I formed a partnership with another person that looked so good. On the surface, it was just looked so doggone good. And and I'm sure you've heard this many times before or even experienced it yourself. But the important thing that I'm trying to get across is that I didn't vet the individual. I didn't look past the surface of the individual. And so I got into business with him, and it took court to get away from him. I had to go to court to get away from him. But the good news is I survived, and we split the business up, and I sold my business, that share of the business, and I always put my hands up and say, the check cleared. I'm so thankful. So I retired for about 14, 15 minutes and said, this is not for me, and started my sixth company. So I guess the message I want to get across to people is please take your time, not only in security, as we have just talked about, but if you're considering opening a business and you have VCs involved, or you have a partner involved, or you've got a group of people involved, please take the time, step back and take the time and evaluate the people that you're getting into business with, because that's sort of like a marriage.
100%.
Right? And
shared assets, finances, decisions. It's
and liability.
Yeah.
They make a decision that brings a company down that you have no control over.
Yep.
So that's my message on that failure. Thank goodness I recovered and got back on my feet. And I think the message I'd like to bring to your listeners, Lyndsay, is that failure can be a great teacher. Mm. And it can, if it doesn't take you down and completely out, it can teach you what direction to go. You're a reader, and I'm sure you see this all the time in your reading, where people have gone through difficult times where they made silly mistakes like myself and recovered.
Oh, yeah.
Because they stopped and thought, and they collaborated, mm-hmm. if you will, with other people, other business owners.
Yeah.
And I put on all of my devices, I have this on my iPad right in front of me, the word perseverance. Perseverance is such an important part of the process of getting through mm-hmm. downtimes and uptimes. And everybody's going to have uptimes and downtimes in their business. It's just the nature of the beast, right?
It's not a straight line.
It's not at all.
It's a roller coaster ride. You got to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah. So I'm here to try to give as much as I can to those business owners, those young people that are starting up. They don't have the experience that we have had, and try to get to them as soon as possible and help them offset any disaster like that. The statistics, and I'll just give you, I'll finish with this. The statistics in Middle Tennessee, there's an article in the Tennessean, June of 24.
Okay.
And the author, a lady, I can't remember her name, but I've got the article, did an evaluation with all of the sources of information. 49% of small business owners in Middle Tennessee over the last 2 years have been hit with ransomware.
Wow.
Of the 49% that have been hit with ransomware, mm-hmm. 60% of them are out of business.
Wow.
That's a statistic that's stacked against the small business
Totally.
owner. And that kind of damage, that kind of financial damage can occur to you and I as identity theft victims as well. So it's so important to stay on top of that. And I hear what you say about what you're doing with your listeners and your database of getting information out, trying to be proactive,
right? So
that we can help preclude that from occurring. So,
yeah, it's a scary statistic. And as a business owner, I think the biggest thing that I'm taking from your failure, other than, you got to be able to protect yourself. Like, I think that is very critical. But the reason people don't do it is because they don't slow down.
Yes.
And we live in this world as business owners. It's why I have the demand for consulting and coaching work, because business owners are moving so fast, they just can't slow down. They reach a point and go, okay, I really need help. I don't know where to go. I need someone to help me fix my identity theft process or whatever. Or I need someone to help me collaborate and help me figure out how to get through this mess in my business that I've created. And that slowing down is really hard to do because we get in the weeds.
Oh, of course. And the small business owner, you got 35 employees. I'm thinking of a guy in Mount Juliet right now, 35 employees, rocking and socking on a daily basis to keep up with everything. Managing 35 employees is no easy task.
Right.
As well as conducting business and keeping payroll on Friday met, if you will, as a ransomware attack. $35,000 is the ransom. He borrowed against his house in his line of credit, paid the $35,000, and they didn't give him the keys back to his files. Mm. As a result, he went out of business. So that's all because we're going too fast.
Yes.
One of the big things I try to emphasize in all of my presentations and workshops is slow down. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to say and hard to do. Because I know myself, it's easy when, I've got 200 new emails, I delete, or, that looks right. Click, oops, So slow down. You're right, 100%. I know that sounds so simple, but it is absolutely correct, because that's what the social engineering, how they hook you, is because they're going quick, and your thinking is trying to answer their questions, but you're not thinking about Does this make any sense at
Right.
all?
Why is this being sent to me?
Yeah.
Why am I being asked to do this? It's just like the situation I shared with my daughter getting that message. It's like, okay, this is what I'm being told I have to do. I just do it. And we have to slow down in all aspects. I think the world is moving so fast around us that we're afraid to slow down because we won't keep up.
Yeah.
But it's such a cliche saying, but slow down to speed up. It
Yeah.
really is the truth. So it sounds to me like not only did you learn a lesson through failure that generated another company, so I bet you're kind of like, well, I'm thankful I went through that because it gave me this.
True.
Most challenging things we go through, we do end up that way on the other side going, I'm actually really glad I went through that, right? Because I got here because of that. But how have you applied that slowing down to speed up process to other aspects of business since you started this business?
Well, I think that slowing down relates very obviously to our digital world and the emails and the communication that we have with our phones and text messages, et cetera. But I found over time, and after you read a book a week, you gather a point here and a point there and a point here, and your mind starts naturally synthesizing, coming up with solutions. So I think it makes you think the failures especially help guide you and make you think about what you do with every transaction, because it's easy to get into a routine transaction. I'm renewing a CD at the bank.
Yeah.
And they want my Social Security number over the phone. No. Or they want to transfer funds. The new bank wants to transfer funds without the old bank being involved. We'll just send our communique to them.
Yeah.
No. And one example, just a smart guy in Chicago, $700,000 CD, goes online, finds a bank in Colorado that'll give 0.25% more interest on a $700,000 CD. Without talking to his bank, he transfers $700,000 to this bank in Colorado. It immediately goes to New York, then to Atlanta, and then out of the country.
Wow.
So to answer your question clearly, slowing down has a lot to do with making good decisions too. Slowing down and saying, what can I, this is new, so bear with me. If I've got a problem, why can't I go to ChatGPT, write a good prompt, and have them collaborate with me, have ChatGPT or Claude to give me some answers maybe I haven't thought about, and or some problems that I haven't thought about in making that business decision. That's a new tool that we have that's, of course, scaring everybody, and at the same time, it's very exciting.
Oh, it's so amazing. I could do every episode talking about AI. It is one of the things that it's now, as we've been, every business should have standard operating procedures for the things they do. And as we add new things, I'm always like, how are we using AI? How are we using AI to help us guide this? How can we make this process simplified by using AI? But even things like an emotional response that you have that to something, let's say there's an email that you get from someone, client, prospect, whatever, colleague, that creates this emotional. I personally have a rule that if it evokes any kind of extreme emotion, I don't respond for 24 hours. That's my rule. That's what I kind of preach to my kids. And like, hey, if you're having that emotion, then you need to wait because you're reacting, not responding, and we need to respond. But it also utilizing AI to help formulate your thoughts and also give a different perspective on it is really exceptionally wonderful as a tool for us.
I find too, Lyndsay, that there is a necessity to build a skill in writing your prompts.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And because it is only as good as the prompt that you give to it.
And you can, but some people like to really make sure the prompt is great. And I'm like, the prompt needs to be good, but then I'll iterate again and again and again to refine it. So I think it all depends on how you work, but you're right. And it has to learn you and what your goals are.
To learn your behavior, your style, your delivery, your emotional or not emotional, analytical, whatever the case may be, is so essential in the output that you get. It makes that output from ChatGPT more relevant to you.
Yes.
If it sees and understands you, steps into your shoes, so to speak, it just blows me away. That tool is a helpful tool to help us make better decisions.
And slow down
and not have failures.
Yeah.
Why not collaborate with intelligence first, i.e. ChatGPT or Claude or another coach?
Yeah, I use Gemini also for a lot of things. Gemini, I think, I'm a Shark Tank fan, so they've done a really good job plugging it on Shark Tank. But to create tools, documents, resources, it's been incredible. I shared this with my team. I sat down and I'm like for sure 100% diagnosed ADD. Like I think most entrepreneurs fall in that in that category.
Yes.
It's a blessing and a curse. And that, I'm 42. I've learned how to manage it. But when I have to sit down and actually like really focus on an administrative task, I'm fortunate enough to have a great team that I don't have to do a lot of that. But some of the things I actually need to be the one to do because it's got to be my thoughts. And I sat down and we were working on this new piece of the business, and I was, okay, I want you to create job descriptions for this. And here's the project we're going in and completing for this company. I want you to create the job description, the 30, 60, 90 based on these deliverables. And, it's just, I'm able to create all these resources for us like that. And the work that was probably a 2.5 hour project for me. Probably would have taken a full week or 2 full weeks for somebody to actually create on their own. Now you have to feed it. You got to refine it. You got to edit it. It doesn't come out fully baked.
Correct.
But if you're not using that to help you,
boy, you're missing it.
Oh my gosh.
You're missing it.
And you know what's funny? Being in what am I, Jim, a millennial or millennial? Yes, I'm a millennial. I'm an old millennial. I'm 42. I was born in 82.
Yes.
Well, you're more of a Gen X.
Is that older or younger? Is that bad or good? I don't even know what Jim's saying to me right now.
I'm Gen X. Of course it's good.
Okay. But I find, it's interesting because my operations manager is a millennial. She's a little younger than I am. She's the same age as my sister. And then we've got folks on our team that are in their 20s. And the difference in the gap of where we are. But you know what? I will say this, at 42, I'm the one who's driving the forward thinking of AI as the oldest one on my team, saying, no, we need to push into this and lean into that. So I do want to for 1 second have you touch on the cautionary tale of AI from your security perspective. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of my colleagues in the business think that we got to be really careful with what you ask from a cybersecurity standpoint. Mm-hmm. And that prompt is so important to ask. And you hit on this, and I want to stop and slow down on that particular point that you made, and that is
slow down to
you've got
to.
Well, yeah, but you said when you craft your prompt for ChatGPT or Claude or
Gemini, whatever,
you need to go back and review it because it's not always right or it doesn't always have the direction that you're looking for.
Right.
It may miss something from one of your words that you use that it uses a different definition of it, et cetera. So real important to evaluate, if you will, review that information and use it as an assistant as opposed to a replacement. No cut and paste, if you will. It is just collaboration to get more help. And I think to slow you down, because when you go back and review, and it'll ask you, do you want more? Do you want more? Do you want this revised? Do you want
me to create this document for you?
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. I'll say, in closing on the subject of AI, and Jim's listening as well, he may find this funny too, and that is I have my broiler and bake part of my oven went out. and I cook. I'm a cook in the family. I like to cook.
Good for you.
I like to cook. I like my wife to sit over there and have a glass of wine.
Oh,
and
I
then
love that.
Cook. And then we have dinner together. But it's going out. So I thought to myself, okay, Jim, everything
is figure-outable.
Yeah. Right?
I knew you were going to bring the book in.
And so I went to ChatGPT, gave it the model number, the symptoms, etc. And I said, now you are a appliance repair technician. What's the problem? List the 5 possible problems in sequence from the most probable to the least probable.
Wow.
What part is bad?
Yeah, that's very intentional.
Very intentional. And it came back and gave me that. And it said, now, do you want the part numbers for these? And just very quickly, part numbers. Now, do you want to know the procedure, what tools you need in order to, it's just amazing.
So did you do it?
Yeah.
You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Everything is figure-outable.
Everything is figure-outable. And I think that holds true when we make our business decisions too, which will help us. I don't think there's any 100% guarantee that we won't make an error because everybody that I know who is extremely successful have made errors.
Oh my God. I don't know anyone that hasn't. And you hear, it's so funny when you start to talk about a mistake you've made or something you've been through, how many people go, oh yeah, I did that too. Oh, that happened to me too. And you're like, I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only idiot that did that, right?
Yes, right.
That's why we're doing this series right now on failed. I failed because failing is how we move forward. But we don't want to fail when it comes to cybersecurity, do we? So
please
remind us again where to find you. We're going to put everything in the show notes, but also, do you have anything for small businesses that you want to offer? You got the 2 freebies, right? Yeah,
I've got a cybersecurity self-assessment that I want to offer. It's a 1-page, 8-question initial assessment of their ransomware, malware, or cyber attack vulnerability.
Okay.
And it doesn't cost them anything. All I have to do is just go to the link that will be in the show notes. And the same with the identity theft. Everybody should read these identity theft notes just to slow down and see what's actually happening. And yes, I thank you for the opportunity to speak today and to say my website is Business Risk Solutions, plural.net.
Okay.
And I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram under Jim Hughes and Business Risk Solutions. So thank you for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure talking with you about something that's so important to you and I, as well as all your listeners.
And all my clients, I look out for my businesses that I work with in whatever capacity I'm working with them. And this is so important. So I'm so glad you have these resources. Go find the self-assessment and the identity theft document. Takes 5 minutes probably to read through or do the assessment, right?
Very quick.
Yeah, very quick. So you don't have to slow down that much. Just slow down for 5 minutes or even assign it to somebody on your team to do.
Well, and one last suggestion too, Lyndsay, because you were just mentioning about your own business and your own team, download that 8-question cybersecurity self-assessment and sit with your team and have everybody read that and see what their opinion is as far as vulnerability is concerned as well.
I love that. Okay, last and final thought from you, Jim, because we want to pull this out of you. 6 businesses, sold 5. In your last final business, I assume you seem very passionate about it.
Hopefully.
Don't think you're going to get rid of that one anytime soon. You're still all in.
Yep.
For somebody who is afraid of failure or has failed and is afraid to start again in the world of business and entrepreneurship, what do you say to them?
Have more confidence in yourself than you actually have, because a lot of us have what we call imposter syndrome.
Such a topic. We could go on and on.
Oh, yeah, big time. But I think the easiest way to get out of that imposter system is to collaborate with other people that have been where you want to be. And it's all right to hire a coach. It only took me 100 years to figure that out.
Yeah, right.
But hiring a coach can help you get out of the weeds in your thinking, albeit something small conversation or long-term, whatever. All the people that I know, the big hitters that are on the internet, all have coaches.
Amen to that. Hire someone to help you. And that's what I do. That is what we do at Stafford Solutions. Not just me, the team, but that's what we do is help small businesses make sense of the chaos. and figure out the things that don't seem figure outable.
Yes.
Love it. Get a
Love it.
team. Thanks for listening. Hey, give us a rating, 5-star rating. If it's not 5, then send me a message and tell me why it's not. But if it's 5-star rating, please put it out there. Our mission is to help business owners here at the Lyndsay Stafford Show. So we want you to share, like, rate, review, and watch us again. Thanks for tuning in.